I'm going to talk about my Midnight Movies collection. I'm a big fan of this line from MGM. It started out on their a line of B movies and old horror movies that they released on VHS at first, and they brought it over to DVD. And most of them I have are double features, and a lot of them are out of print. Almost all the releases are films that belong to the AIP catalog, American International Pictures, that MGM acquired once they acquisitioned Orion Films. So I do have a few single releases over here. Of course, got the B-movie classic Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and the 1977 version of The Island of Dr. Moreau. You know, not a very good one, but you know, it's a hell of a lot better than the 1996 Marlon Brando one. Next up, I have a lot of the Vincent Price old horror films. First one is a double feature of House of Usher and The Pit and the Pendulum, both directed by Roger Corman. Out of print, but this is a must-own, perhaps my favorite release of the entire Midnight Movies catalog. Really am a fan of this one here. Two of the best. And next up we have The Mask of Red Death and The Premature Burial. Two more Roger Corman, Edgar Allan Poe adaptions. The Mask of Red Death has Vincent Price. Premature Burial actually stars Ray Milland instead. It was supposed to star Vincent Price, but Ray Milland is actually very good in it too, so another excellent double feature right there. Then we have a double feature of The Haunted Palace and Tower of London. Two more Vincent Price. This one is actually an H.P. Lovecraft adaptation, and this is a remake of the original Boris Karloff Universal film. Both of them, again, directed by Roger Corman. Another excellent double feature. And then another double feature with Vincent Price, The Tomb of Ligeia, Edgar Allan Poe adaptation, Roger Corman again. And this other one is An Evening of Edgar Allan Poe. And this really isn't a film. This is more of a stage play with just starring Vincent Price, that was filmed with him acting out Edgar Allan Poe stories. It's only about an hour long, and it really shouldn't have been featured as a second feature on the DVD. It should have been more of a bonus feature, but still a must get for the first film. And I have another Vincent Price double feature. As you can tell, there are a lot of Vincent Price old horror films. Roger Corman, Edgar Allan Poe adaptation of Tales of Terror, which includes 3 Edgar Allan Poe stories, and then Twice Told Tales, another multi-story collection starring Vincent Price. That one is definitely the weakest of the two. And I have a couple The Raven, directed by Roger Corman again. This is a more comical take on the stories, and then of course The Comedy of Terrors. I really enjoyed that movie. I was really impressed. The comical overtones are very good. I originally bought this brand new at Best Buy, and I actually came with the wrong disc in it. It came with Motel Hell and Deranged double feature, the disc inside, and I went to return it, and they treated me very badly. They thought I was lying until they went back and opened another one, and no, God forbid, another one had the wrong disc in. So I ended up getting a refund because of it, but I was really bummed, and this one out of print, but I ended up finding it at a pawn shop for $3, so I ended up lucking out there. And oh, guess what? Another Vincent Price double feature. The Oblong Box and Scream and Scream Again. Oblong Box, that's a pretty below average one for him. Scream and Scream Again, I mean Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, and Vincent Price. And a film that makes not a lick of sense. This film, it's a mess, but you know what? I still enjoy that one. Then we have an out-of-print one, Cry of the Banshee and Murders in the Rue Morgue. Vincent Price in this one. I was really disappointed that one. That one has a pretty flat look to it. Vincent Price was supposed to star in this one. Jason Robards instead. plays the role, and it's alright. This is definitely not one of the weaker double features of some of the Vincent Price material. Then we have Theater of Blood, really like that one a lot, and Madhouse with Peter Cushing. That's a co-production with Amicus Films and AIP. Oh, really great double feature here, really enjoyable films there. And the Dr. Fives duology. Great tongue-in-cheek horror films. I really enjoyed these, and there were plans to make more sequels, but sadly they never arose, but really enjoy. This is definitely one of the most known of the Midnight movie series. Then we got the Count Yorga double feature, starring Robert Quarry, and you know, these were okay, but I wasn't a huge fan of them, but it's still a nice collection there. Then we have a double feature of two H.P. Lovecraft adaptations. Die, Monster, Die, starring Boris Karloff. That story was remade in a awful Italian horror film called The Curse. And Dunwich Horror. You know, they're pretty average films, but very enjoyable, very cheesy older films. I really enjoyed those too. Of course, I talked about this in my Hammer Horror DVD collection. Countess Dracula and Vampire Lovers, must get for vampire lovers. And then I got a hilarious double feature of Empire of the Ants from the same makers of Food of the Gods, which I have in a collection later, and Tentacles, Italian ripoff of Jaws from the makers of Beyond the Door and The Visitor, and it's awful but hilarious. A really enjoyable bad double feature there. Then we have Post-Apocalyptic Panic in Year Zero and The Last Man on Earth. Last Man on Earth, excellent film, later remade as The Omega Man and I Am Legend. I have yet to watch Panic in Year Zero. I hate myself for doing that, but I have so many movies that sometimes it takes me a while to get around to watching them all, so I have yet to watch that one. And we have double feature of The Monster That Challenged the World and It, The Terror from Beyond Space. Enjoyable B movies. I really enjoy this film here, The Monster That Challenged the World. It, The Terror from Beyond Space is like an early version of Alien. You know, an alien gets on board a spacecraft and starts killing the crew off one by one. Very enjoyable one there. Then we have an out-of-print double feature of The Attic and Crawl Space. The Attic, it's rather long and it is kind of boring, but it has a great concept and it could have been so much better. Crawl Space is an Empire Films, Charles Band production, and this is the real trashy one and the highlight of this collection. Klaus Kinski plays an ex-Nazi manager of an apartment complex, and that one's creepy yet silly, so I really enjoy that one. So then we got a double feature of Invisible Invaders and Journey to the Seventh Planet. These are some pretty bad science fiction films, but if you love B science fiction, you'll find enjoyment in that. Then I got The Land That Time Forgot and its sequel, The People That Time Forgot. Awful, awful special effects, but the adventure of these stories still, the kid in me still loves these movies, so I find these highly enjoyable. Then we got a double feature of War Gods of the Deep, starring Vincent Price and At the Earth's Core from the makers of The Land That Time Forgot. War Gods actually wasn't too bad. At the Earth's Core is over-the-top, cheesy, horrible effects, and I still found it insanely enjoyable. And we got a couple old ones here. We got Boris Karloff in Voodoo Island, an old one, and The Four Skulls of Jonathan Drake. Voodoo Island, that's pretty forgettable. Four Skulls, that was a lot better than I thought it would be. That's definitely the highlight of that collection. Then we have Strange Invaders and Invaders from Mars. Strange Invaders is like a pseudo sequel to Strange Behavior. It's okay. I thought that one could have been better. And Tobe Hooper's remake of Invaders from Mars is unfocused. It doesn't know if it wants to take itself seriously or be tongue-in-cheek, but Toby Hooper, so definitely got to own that. And then, oh, here's some bad movies. The Incredible Two-Headed Transplant and The Thing with Two Heads. Yeah, oh yeah. Horrible movie, but a large cult following for that. And that's the highlight of this. You know, Thing with Two Heads, it's got its moments. Deranged, Motel Hell, a must-own. Deranged is an early version based on Ed Gein, and Motel Hell, tongue-in-cheek horror with a good dose of comedy. Oh yeah, that's a must-own. Morons from Outer Space and Alien from L.A. Pretty weak midnight movie double feature. I didn't really enjoy Morons from Outer Space and Alien from L.A. It's just a bad Cannon film directed by Albert Pyun. And we got Amicus's Tales from the Crypt and the Vault of Horror. Vault of Horror, sadly, is the cut version, but at least it's on DVD. That's a great collection there. And then we got a pirate double feature. You can see the logo's different on top. Fortunes of Captain Blood and its sequel, Captain Pirate. I haven't watched these yet. Picked these up not too long ago. And I got some box sets here. I got, let's see, Volume 1, Monsters and Creatures. You get, of course, Food of the Gods, a bad classic. Phantom from 10,000 Leagues and The Beast with 1,000,000 Eyes. Those are really bad ones. I didn't enjoy that double feature. Yonggary is really bad and forgettable. Conga, that's a pretty enjoyable bad movie. Chosen Survivor surprised me. I actually really enjoyed that movie. Earth Die Screaming, it's short on time, only about an hour long, but an enjoyable movie about robots that take over the Earth. Gorilla at Large, yeah, it's pretty passable. And Mystery of Monster Island is completely awful. That is just, ugh. But I got that box set, and then I got a volume 2 of a box set, Vampires and Witchcraft. And this, you get Witchfinder General, aka The Conqueror Worm. Oh, I waited so long for that to come to DVD. Wonderful movie. Vincent Price is unforgettable. Devils of Darkness is kind of a Hammer-esque ripoff. It's okay. Witchcraft, actually, I haven't watched yet. The House on Skull Mountain is kind of a blaxploitation horror film. Mephisto Waltz, recommend that one. Really did like that movie. And then The Return of Dracula and The Vampire, those are pretty bad vampire films. I don't really recommend those. And then The Beast Within, classic Australian early 80s horror film. Nasty effects, enjoyed that one. And The Bat People, completely awful. Horrible movie there, and that's my box set there. This is when MGM teamed up with 20th Century Fox to bring midnight movies. Sadly, these were the last run, these box sets. They released a few more, but they were the last run of midnight movies. I don't think they sold as well as they hoped, so I think sadly the midnight movie logo is put to rest, but very enjoyable movies in there. I have a large collection of them, and I watch them all the time, so if you can pick some of these up, sadly a lot of them are out of print, so hopefully you can find them, but they're definitely well worth it. So, well, that's my midnight movie collection.